All right, happy Friday. We're so glad to have you joining us again as we grow together through God's Word. I'm a dad of two daughters, both that are now preteens, and I have spent a lot of years getting makeup put on me, playing Barbies, having tea parties, and all of the things that dads do with their daughters. And about 7 years ago for Christmas, my daughter Harley got a horse stable Lego set from her grandma. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like we and my brother had Lego when we were growing up, but it was very different. And it began this interesting and fun journey as my kids have gotten older. Back in 2021, we went to the Lego store in the St. Louis Mall for the very first time. And I don't know if I was more excited or if my kids were more excited. They wanted to look at their sets. We were blown away at all of the amazing things they had in there. And while I was there, I found a Lego Batmobile. Now, Batman is my favorite superhero. The Dark Knight series was my favorite of the movies, and I found a Lego Batmobile from The Dark Knight. And so I bought my first Lego set in 2021. And me and my kids have had so much fun building Lego cities together and just like finding amazing deals and all of these things. And it has been so fun to transition from all of these girl toys to now being able to do a new way to connect with my daughters. One of the things that my kids are really good at is they can just take a pile of Lego and they can just build anything out of this pile. And they have the creativity to do that. But I don't have that creativity. I can't just look at a picture, like a Batmobile picture, and figure out how to make this from scratch. And so that's why these instruction manuals is so different when I was a kid. Like this is incredible. And as you open this up and you flip through it, you find the pieces that you're supposed to have and exactly where they're supposed to go. And so as you get there and as you begin to put these pieces together, and as you flip through the books and find the next spot, you see just how everything fits together. In the Bible, one of my favorite Old Testament characters is a guy named Joshua. And Joshua has a really important job. Joshua's going to take over after Moses. We first meet Joshua as he's a commander in the army for Moses. And when he becomes the guy who's going to take over, God gives him some very specific instructions and encouragement in Joshua chapter 1. And you may have heard these stories before. You may have remembered these moments where the words "be strong and courageous" continue to pop up over and over again. But in the book of Joshua, this is what God tells him after reminding him that he's going to be with him. Man, Moses, he's the guy that God spoke to from a burning bush. There were the plagues, the parting of the Red Sea, all these incredible moments. And Joshua has to take over after that guy. And God reminds him, just like I was with Moses, I'm going to be with you. And this is one of the things that he says in Joshua chapter 1, starting in verse 6. He says, or verse 7, he says, "Be careful to obey all of the instructions that Moses gave you. Do not deviate from them, turning either to the right or to the left. Then you'll be successful in everything you do. Study this book of instruction continually. Meditate on it day and night so that you will be sure to obey everything written in it. Only then will you prosper and succeed in all that you do. This is my command. Be strong and courageous. Don't be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." And when I read that and I pick up on a few of these different words, man, the book of instruction, it just made me think of Lego. It makes me think about the importance of this book that helps us see how everything fits together and helps us learn how to walk through this journey to complete something. But it also is a reminder to us, and it was a reminder to Joshua that, man, you need to know. Even though Joshua's version of the Bible, like the book of Moses, there was only the first few books of our Old Testament. But as Joshua would read those things, and he was challenged to know them, to meditate on them, and to follow them, he would be reminded of God's faithfulness. All of these moments where God was faithful to Moses. And this is a big deal. Man, Joshua, he's one of the spies who, him and Caleb are the only two out of the 12 who say, no, we need to go into the promised land. God has promised it to us. There were cities with giants. There was a city called Jericho with the wall all the way around. It was going to be difficult. There was a sea they had to cross. It was going to be hard. But Joshua said, and Caleb said, no, we need to go because God said that he would help us. And so as Joshua is taking over these commands of take these books, you know it, you study it, you follow it day in and day out. The promise for him was that he would be successful. Now I want to encourage you, whether it's a physical Bible like this, maybe it's looking on your phone on a Bible app, maybe it's literally listening to sermons every day where God's word is being preached. We got to do something to be able to connect with the word. Man, this book It helps make this Batmobile like come to life from just a pile of pieces. But this book helps guide everything in our life. We get a chance to look back at how God has been faithful to other people, how God keeps his promise. We get a chance to be encouraged and challenged and to know that, man, God speaks to us through this. There is a promise that God would be with us. It's not a promise that our life is going to be perfect all the time. It doesn't mean that just because we read our Bible every day outside of church, which it should be happening. We can't only have this open on Sundays or on a night that you're at your small group. It has to be daily. That there's a promise that he would be with us and he's not going to leave us. So do what you can to study this word, to know this word, and to be in it daily. And if you have no idea where to go or where to start, man, we'd love to have a conversation with you. We'd love to direct you to a couple of different places in the New Testament, the Old Testament, where you can just get in it daily and build those habits. It was important for Joshua, for God to tell him those things as he was getting ready to take over. And it's an important reminder for us that God speaks to us throughout his word, and we get to learn about him and his faithfulness, and we get to be challenged on the way we're supposed to live. I hope that you have an awesome week.